Welcome to my stream, welcome to my channel, and welcome to another chapter working on this guy right here. That's Chip Foose's 68 Firebird. So I will, please run the intro, please, and we'll get started. Okay? All right. Thank you. Well, we're back, and you can see I'm kind of doing some stuff here. You kind of caught me right in the middle of doing some masking. Why am I masking the body? Well, I'm going to be painting the trim around the windows. That's what I'm going to be doing today. It's not going to take too long. It's actually going to take a lot longer to mask it than it is to actually paint it, and that's kind of the nature of things. A little recap of what we did last time. We got the engine in. The engine sitting in the chassis. That's great. She's in her new home and she's very happy. Off camera, I went ahead and I installed the exhaust pipes. So those are in now. Kind of side pipes, but not really side pipes. My engine that's in there, they don't really match up perfectly. As you can tell, this on a funny angle, but it doesn't really matter. What matters is the fact they actually connect, and you're not really going to see them too much when the car's sitting out, sitting on its wheels. So there's that. We got the engine done, and of course we got the interior all finished up. I did paint the chrome on the top of the brake booster, the brake master cylinder. I have yet to touch up the bottom of this. I need to still do that. Okay, but I'm going to be doing the silver trim on the windows. Now, I'm tempted to use the Molotow chrome because it comes out absolutely so perfect, but when I try and do a clear coat over it, it really takes that chrome away, and I'll show you a perfect example. Okay, I'll change the camera and I'll show you here. Okay, so we have this oil pan. This is the kit chrome. Okay, that just comes out like that, and yes, that is a mirror finish chrome on there. Same with the valve covers, mirror finish chrome. Even the carburetor on here is mirror finish chrome. You guys are all super familiar with this, right? Okay. Now, I painted the blower with the Molotow chrome. Okay, and I also painted the top of the master cylinder. Master cylinder, that is looking like mirror chrome on that right now. It is super shiny and it looks like chrome. You can't really get any better than that in a paint. It is beautiful. Once you put a clear coat over it, however, it just turns it to a bright silver. It is super silver, but it's no longer that chrome color. You guys saw when I first painted the blower that looked like almost kit chrome. Maybe not quite, but very close. Okay. Now with a clear coat on it, it's just a highly polished silver. So, knowing that, that's what I'm going to get. I'm just going to paint the window trim with Tamiya's LP48, which looks like that when you spray it, which pretty much looks the same as what the blower looks like right now. Okay, pretty much the same thing. So that's what I'm going to paint it, and that's the best I'm going to get. I'm not going to get mirror chrome out of it. And although the blower did look like this oil pan before I clear coated it, it no longer does. There's your comparison. Okay, so that's just the way it is. That's what happens when you clear coat the chrome. And so yeah, my window trim is going to be this color. I think that'll be a good accent actually to the flat black. I'm just going to leave this flat black. I painted this with the Mr. Surfacer 1500, and then I did a flat clear over it, and that really smoothened it out and everything, and that allows me to touch it and all this without wearing off any of the black. I still might have to do some touch up on it, but yeah, she's looking pretty good. Anyway, I'm just going to finish off masking this, and we will continue. Okay, so that's what I'm doing now. I'm going to finish masking this off, and then we're going to paint. You know it is. I know it is. You know it is. That's the nature of the game. So I'm going to just not allow that. Okay, we are masked up. Okay, my air compressor is already fired up and ready to go. I just need to get some paint and get that going. So, get my airbrush ready. Now my silver, I don't think I have it thinned, so I think I need to thin it out. Although it is already a pretty thin paint. I can try spraying it. It is pretty thin. Yeah, I'll try spraying it out of there, just straight out of the jar. Don't need much because I am only doing the window trim after all. Shavings off of here. Okay, I'm not going to change the camera to show you guys. I will change this here. So I don't have my other camera set up right now to show you guys painting, but you guys have seen me paint many times before.
1 minute 37 seconds later.
Done. Okay, it's all silver. Got a little silver all the way around it now. Okay, so clean up my brush. I got way too much in the brush, so I'll just pour out the excess and I'll clean it up. You guys watching live, you get to watch me clean my airbrush, but you guys who are not watching live, I'll just cut it right now.
Moments later.
So let's remove some of this. This is dry now because it's to me a paint. It dries nice and quick. It was probably dry like 1 minute after I was done. So let's just start removing all of our masking. Got my little trim here, and one more piece. Hey, there we go. Okay, there's our window trim. Change the camera, you can get a little bit better closer look at it. Okay, there we go. There's our window trim done. It looks good enough. It's not chrome, but it is a nice silver contrast in relation to that flat black paint. Okay, so there we go. And of course that Tamiya masking tape does a really fantastic job at covering everything. Okay, so that's done. Let's go back to our instructions. So last time we got our rear end in, we got our front suspension in, we got our engine put in, we got our radiator wall put in. I had to cut the shroud, even though I cut it in a wrong spot. I still got to cut. We got our interior all assembled and done. So we flip, and so If we're doing the Foose version, they want us to shave off the Pontiac emblem on the rear quarter panel right there. I think I'm just going to leave that on there. I don't want to shave it off, especially considering I've already painted this body and I don't want to have to start doing body work on it. So I'm just going to leave the Pontiac emblem there like it did from the factory. Which means now we're going to put in our window. So we're going to grab our clear sprues and our rear view mirror, number 75 off of the chrome tree. Okay, so let's grab those. We got a rear view mirror here. Obviously I've kind of trimmed this sprue down a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the mirror on the sprue. Okay, the back of these mirrors are always black. That's the way they were in the 60s and 70s. Okay, the mirror trim was always black. It's true today. I want to keep it on the sprue though. Don't go twisting it too much. Oh, I just broke it off. I guess I'm not painting it on the sprue now. Stupid thing. That's okay, because I can still use an alligator clip, because that part is supposed to be chrome. I'm just doing the trim around the mirror itself. Okay, I'll use my Mr. Surfacer black. Grab a brush. Okay. Here we go. So our mirror is now black like it's supposed to be. Okay, just like that. Okay, put that aside so that can dry while we grab our, well, I'll clean my brush first, and then I'll grab our windows. Okay. Our windows here in the plastic still. My somewhat dull scissors. There we go. So we've got our headlights and our mirror glass, or our window glass. Now these ones I don't want to just snip off of here. I want to kind of cut them off of the sprues because it can be a little bit of a challenge. I am going to trim them just to get them off of the sprue, like that, and this, and I'll leave the headlights alone for now. I want to kind of etch this off a little bit, like this. Slowly cut that off. Like that. Here's our rear window. Now, these little nubs that are attached to our rear window visors, those don't make any difference. And then we have this guy here. So again, just slowly cut away at it. Don't put too much pressure because you risk cracking your windshield. I definitely don't want to do that. There we go. Because the clear sprue, the clear plastic is always, it's a little brittle. So I'm just going to clean up this edge a little here. We're not going to see it, but I want to make sure it's clean and smooth for when I go to install it. Same with this one. Same with their visors. Okay, so how's our mirror looking? Feels pretty dry. But one thing I'm going to have to do is get rid of the chrome on that little knob, otherwise she's not going to stay in her home. In fact, a lot of times just handling the painted mirror, you're going to take the paint off of it. That's the nature of chrome, or at least kit chrome anyway. Okay, so this is going to go in the little hole right here, just like that. Just like this. It's nice, it stays in all on its own. And I'll use a little bit of Tamiya Extra Thin just on this side here. That, just to make sure it stays in its home. Okay, just a little drop. Okay. I know a lot of guys like to use PVA glue on their glass, also known as Elmer's white glue, school glue, whatever you want to call it. I have not had an issue with Tamiya's glue causing any kind of hazing or anything like that. It's never been an issue for me. So this is going to go in the back here. Fits really nice. Okay, we've got a nice border that's going to hide any glue, so that's nice. So I'll take this, I'll just kind of hold it in place so I don't accidentally move it with the glue brush, and I'll just touch on the corner there and let the glue go into the cracks as little or as much as it wants. Just like that. Just for added measure, do it there. And along there. So our rear window's in. Okay. And because this is the quick setting type, I should be able to go bing, and yep, it's staying in all on its own. Okay, so now we'll do the windshield and see how this guy fits in here. Drop them in. Similar fashion, we've got a big border that goes around it. It looks like our visors don't actually touch the roof. Our visors are actually sitting about a 1.5 millimeters away from the roof. So we're not going to be gluing the visors down. Like in some kits, you could just put a dab of glue under the visor and go, and it would stick. But it looks like our windshield is sticking on the sides and on the front, and that's it. So I'll just do this and kind of get under here, under our wiper blades a little bit. see along the sides. Let's see if I can get a better angle here. There we go. There we go. So obviously I don't have any glue going along the top, but I've got it on the sides and on the bottom, and that's really all I'm going to need. As you can see, I've done a little bit of carving here. I did a test fit of how the engine's going to sit in here if I was really going to have to carve any of this out, and I got a little bit of carving that I had to do, but not much. I'll probably have to do more. But I only wanted to do a tiny little bit just to get it done. If I get this, show this at the right angle, you can see how the visors are. Let's turn this around like this. You can see how the visors are not touching the roof. You can see it in there. The visors need to be painted. And so I'm going to do that now, because the next step is to put the interior into the body. So any painting I need to do now, I'm going to do right now. Or any painting I need to do, I'm going to do now. Okay? And so that means painting the visors. Because the visors are not supposed to be a shiny clear by any means. I'm going to use a little bit of a bigger brush. Get some paint on these visors. Especially making sure to get on the edge. Yeah, this windshield doesn't actually sit very well. It sits fine at the bottom here, but it doesn't go right to the roof, and so I've got a bit of a gap right there. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but I got a gap right there along the top. That really should not be, but it won't go. It doesn't move. That's just the way it is. Okay, so my visors are painted, except for that edge there. There we go. And I really should paint on that little edge there. Where I scrape that away. Which, ironically enough, is also right against the window there. But that's okay. We'll just do that. There we go. Okay. So our window's in. And our visors are painted. So clean this brush. And then we'll put the body in. And I think with the body in, we're going to be finished for today. Or I mean, not the body, I'm going to put the interior in the body. So, it shows we're supposed to put the back in first. Now, although there's a hole here, there's no tab or anything, so there's nothing really to line it up. We're just supposed to go in like this first, like this. And obviously going to have to spread the body apart to get our firewall in there. So what I want to do, I want to put this down, so I want to put a cloth. I've got a microfiber cloth out here. This. And just so I can spread that a little bit there. There we go. We're almost there. There we go. So we've got a little bit of play here because there's no tab or anything like that, so we're just gonna have to guess where this is supposed to go in here. Obviously we don't want to have it all the way back because we'd have a huge gap on our dashboard, so we want to have it lined up. I think that's about where it's supposed to go. There isn't really much to, as far as gluing. I can put it so that it's right lined up with the firewall's right level with this, and that's about it. But that leaves a gap back here, so I think right somewhere like this is where the happy spot's going to be. Where we can just see the back lip here, the dash is just tucked in inside there, kind of like that. So we'll put a little dab of glue in there, right here where it's touching. And I think that's it. That'll just keep it in place, because really what's going to be holding the interior in is the chassis. The chassis is the next step. Okay, we've got the interior in, so we're going to do the chassis next. So we'll put the chassis in, and then we're going to call it a day. Okay. Chassis, of course, has its own challenges because you need to really spread the body apart to get it in there. Okay, and they tell us to put the front in first. You can see I've done some shaving down here. I was doing some test fitting, and the way this lines up here, it doesn't really go really super flush, so I didn't want a really hard edge, so I shaved this down on an angle. So I've kept the length of it, but it's on an angle like this. It's beveled instead of straight up and down like it was. So let's try this. Get this in here first. Of course, the blower is a bit of a challenge also. So to make sure my carburetors go right against the opening there. There we go. We're in on the front. Of course, we got to spread the body apart on the back. There we go, we're in. We're not lined up. And we're in. We are, see, I've got, it really is a unique little setup here. But we're in. I've got quite the gap. I'm glad I got this thing painted black, because it doesn't sit very high, or it doesn't sit very low. And as you can see, I've got a bit of a gap here in there where it doesn't go, and I've got a little bit of play in it, which is good. Funny enough, that is good that there's some play. But I'm going to have to go around this with some glue and put some glue in some spots to get it really in there, and try and kind of squeeze this together and get this sitting where it's supposed to. It's not a precise fit, and it's, well, that's the nature of the beast. But it's not bad. This just needs to be tucked up and then stay there. It's really what that needs. It needs to stay in his home. Yeah. Whether or not I can get in there on the inside with the glue, that's another thing. I don't know for sure. We'll find out. If I can just glue the front and leave it like that, I'll be happy. Because the back isn't going to go anywhere. And I've got really no place to glue the black. Glue the black. Glue the black, glue the back. Except maybe our fender is touching, but not really. It's not really touching anywhere. The chassis is touching the interior, but that's it. And if the interior moves, the chassis is moving. And I also just realized my rear window is wanting to hang down. Why my rear window has decided it wants to hang, I don't know. But anyway, this is where I'm going to leave it for today, guys. This is where I'm calling it. I'm going to call it done. Got quite a bit done today. Getting the body in together and all that stuff. And our glass and window trim painted. Yeah. We're getting there. I'm going to do a quick little, before I go, I'm going to do a quick test on how the hood's going to fit. Yeah, really. It looks like my carburetors are sitting too far back. So I'm going to have to cut the hole there back a little bit. And then to get this on there, this is really going to sit forward. But that's okay. Yeah. So I'll have to do a little bit of trimming on the hole in the hood, at least in the back anyway, to get the carbs to go through. But yeah, that's that again. I've said this a few times now in this episode. It's the nature of the beast. I've done custom work, got a custom engine in there, which means you run into these little problems. But yeah, so again, guys, this is where I'm going to leave it. I want to thank you guys for the new subscribers. Remember, hit that like button, hit subscribe. Once I get to 1,000, I'm going to collaborate with my fiance. We're going to build Porsches together. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. And thanks again, guys, for all your support. And we'll see you all in the next one.